Today we're going to talk about something that I believe is really crucial for every single believer, and that is the importance of prayer and discernment in our walk with God. You see, as believers, we are in a constant spiritual battle, and if we're not careful, the enemy can take away some really critical things from us. And I'm not just talking about physical things, I'm talking about spiritual things that can affect our faith, our relationship with God, and even our eternity. The Bible tells us to be vigilant, to be on the lookout for the schemes of the enemy, because he's always looking for ways to trip us up. And one of the primary ways he does that is by taking advantage of our lack of prayer and discernment. So in this video, I want to expose the 5 critical things that the devil takes away from believers who lack prayer and discernment. I know that many of us have been guilty of taking these things for granted, and I've been there too. I've been in situations where I felt like I was doing okay. I was reading my Bible, I was going to church, but I wasn't really taking the time to pray and seek God's guidance. And let me tell you, that's when the enemy starts to creep in. He starts to whisper lies. He starts to create doubt. And before you know it, you're in a full-blown spiritual crisis. Many believers struggle with feelings of guilt and shame. They struggle with anxiety and depression. They struggle with staying committed to their faith. And the reason is because they lack prayer and discernment. They lack that deep connection with God that enables them to hear His voice, to understand His will, and to stay on track. When we don't pray, we open ourselves up to all sorts of attacks from the enemy. We become easy prey, and he can take advantage of our weaknesses. We start to doubt God's goodness, we start to question His presence in our lives, and we start to lose our sense of purpose. Without prayer and discernment, we become like sheep without a shepherd. We're vulnerable, we're exposed, and we're easy targets for the enemy. And let me tell you, the enemy is not playing games. He's serious about taking us down, and he'll stop at nothing to get what he wants. So, what are these 5 critical things that the devil takes away from believers who lack prayer and discernment? Well, the first thing is our sense of purpose. When we don't pray, we lose sight of why we're here, what we're supposed to be doing, and how we're supposed to be doing it. The Bible tells us that we're called to be salt and light in a dark world. But without prayer and discernment, we can't fulfill that calling. We start to drift, we start to wander, and we start to lose our sense of direction. And before we know it, we're stuck in a rut, going through the motions of Christianity without any real purpose or passion. The second thing the devil takes away is our peace of mind. When we don't pray, we open ourselves up to all sorts of fears and anxieties. We start to worry about the future, we start to dwell on the past, and we start to lose our sense of trust in God. The Bible tells us that God is our rock, our refuge, and our strength, but without prayer and discernment, we can't tap into that peace. We're left to fend for ourselves, to try to figure things out on our own and to rely on our own strength. And let me tell you, that's a recipe for disaster. The third thing the devil takes away is our sense of community. When we don't pray, we start to isolate ourselves from other believers. We start to feel like we're the only ones struggling. We start to feel like we're the only ones who don't have it all together. The Bible tells us that we're part of the body of Christ, that we're all connected, and that we're all in this together. But without prayer and discernment, we can't experience that sense of community. We start to feel alone, we start to feel abandoned, and we start to lose our sense of belonging. The fourth thing the devil takes away is our spiritual discernment. When we don't pray, we start to lose our ability to distinguish between good and evil, between right and wrong. We start to compromise, we start to tolerate sin, and we start to lose our sense of conviction. The Bible tells us that we're to be transformed by the renewing of our minds, that we're to be discerning, and that we're to be wise. But without prayer and discernment, we can't achieve that. We start to drift, we start to wander, and we start to lose our sense of direction. The fifth and final thing the devil takes away is our conviction. When we don't pray, we start to lose our confidence in God. We start to lose our confidence in His Word, and we start to lose our conviction about our faith. The Bible tells us that we're to be bold, we're to be courageous, and we're to be confident in our faith. But without prayer and discernment, we can't achieve that. We start to doubt, we start to waver, and we start to lose our sense of conviction. You know, I think the most impactful thing I've learned is that prayer and discernment are not optional. They're not something we can take or leave. They're something we must do if we want to stay close to God, if we want to stay on track, and if we want to fulfill our purpose. So let's recap. The 5 critical things that the devil takes away from believers who lack prayer and discernment are our sense of purpose, our peace of mind, our sense of community, our spiritual discernment, and our conviction. I want to leave you with a challenge today. I want to challenge you to take prayer and discernment seriously. I want to challenge you to prioritize your time with God, to prioritize your prayer life, and to prioritize your spiritual growth. And finally, I want to encourage you to share with me in the comments below. What has been your experience with prayer and discernment? How have you seen the devil try to take these things away from you? And how have you overcome those challenges? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.